Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at the offlane of Zai. He's playing NECROPHOS this match against Aster, and honestly, Zai had an incredible match, which made me want to look at this. And the reason why I was particularly impressed is at first glance, this is not the greatest NECROPHOS game. The enemy team has overwhelming amounts of magical damage, from Darkseer to Skywrath Mage, and on top of that, I didn't originally think that NECROPHOS is much of a lane counter to Morphling. But Zai absolutely made that look like the case, and so let's get into why NECROPHOS is maybe one of the better answers to Morphling and how you can play this hero in any matchup in your pubs. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the GameLink website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the GameLink website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. So starting it off, he's going to be going for a pretty well-rounded starting item build in Circlet, 3 branches, Stick, and Tangos. From there, he's going to be looking to contest a majority of CS. I think that's kind of the key thing about this Necro pick here. They picked it into this Spirit Breaker Morphling. And the reason why I really like it here is because of the fact that neither Spirit Breaker nor Morphling are good at pressuring at level 1 and are only okay at pressuring at level 2. And I think this is mainly when NECROPHOS is a weak hero. He kind of gets over the hump getting towards level 3 and 4, even though we will actually see him get pressured out of the lane later on. So the main thing you want to do on NECROPHOS is help your position for trade. The reason why that's the case is you're not really going to bully this Morphling out of lane. It's important to actually keep the guy low. You'll see that Zai's going to drop some auto attacks here and then actually nuke the first CS. And the reason why this is the way to execute the lane is because Morphling can't really trade back. His low range and inability to tank the creep wave means that he can't just fight you back, right? NECROPHOS is going to be able to draw aggro, tank a lot of damage, hit the Morphling twice, and then nuke to heal off that damage, get the CS, and harass Morphling all at the same time. So you can see this sequence from Zai is incredibly good. It takes half of the health from the Morphling and is going to force him eventually to have to shift more strength and in turn lower his damage. And you'll even see here in this clip, he's going to pull aggro from the range creep away from Monet, tries to bait him into CSing early, doesn't get him to take the bait and get the deny. However, he's able to once again continue to drop this guy's HP low and force him to morph strength. And that is the name of the game in the early waves against Morphling. You're not going to kill the guy in most matchups, but a consistent usage of the Q is going to keep him low and make it very hard for him to last it. And one big thing is you want to pretty consistently draw aggro into the range, then walk past the wave and actually zone them off of the range creep. Notice how he hit this range creep twice, put it into range, then Q'd, securing him both of the range CS and then almost a range deny. So try to walk past the wave as long as it is not under the tower, but if the wave is in a decent position, you can walk past it and kind of zone out the Morphling a little bit. Once you hit level 2, you obviously become much stronger, and you're going to see he gets very aggressive on Monet here. I don't know how much I like him literally running completely through the wave, at least at first glance, but you could see it does end up working out pretty well. He's able to push the Morphling completely off the wave, and that allows him to get almost every single deny on this creep wave. He does miss a few CS and doesn't play it perfectly, as he could have at least gotten 1 or 2 more denies there, further restoring his mana pool, and that's the key to Necro. A lot of people are just super aggressive. This is a hero that needs to contest every single deny possible in these free lanes, because if you get just a decent amount of them, you're going to be able to use far more Qs, because 1 deny is the equivalent to 32 mana, which is insane. So 3 denies is an entire extra Q. So it is very crucial that you use your mana early and then restore all of it once you hit level 2 with some decent last hitting. From there, he's going to take the second point in his Q and buy some boots. The reason why boots are good is because of the fact that you don't want Morphling or Spirit Breaker to chase you down. This might seem weird because it's like, oh, he's been winning the lane. But he's been winning the lane because Spirit Breaker and Morphling are bad at level 1, right? You can really easily secure the range creep deny in this lane because neither Spirit Breaker or Morphling can secure it. It's really easy to bait the range creep and pull aggro off of it in lanes where neither of the enemies have range creep secured. So it's a pretty advanced idea, but I do kind of want you guys to get the gist of that for your gameplay. And that's the reason why he's really winning the CS battle. Not by a ton, but by enough, right? He's got 3 more denies, 3 more CS. After these CS, he's going to actually have far more than 3 CS, as he now has 5 more, 6 more after that range creep. So the only real timing you have to be careful about with Necro is getting towards this point in the game where you're not that close to Reaper's Scythe, you get a little bit low on mana, maybe you're not denying the best, or you're not CSing the best, or maybe you're using your Q a little bit too much. I will say I actually kind of don't like the fact that he doesn't skill Ghost Shroud. I just feel that the 45% restoration amplification with something like Lotus +1 is absolutely incredible. You can also buy a Mango to basically guarantee that you never run out of mana if you skill your W. The reason why E is considered good is it doubles the health decay, and I will admit, that's obviously pretty good. However, it's not insane. If the lane is completely free, and maybe he felt it was, yes, taking the point in E is better than taking a point in W. I will not argue that. But in a clip like this, with 1 point in W, he's really under no true threat, as it's going to slow the enemy by a pretty decent 10%, not incredible, but you know, that's 30 or 40 movement speed, it's Boots movement speed, so it will allow Zai to disengage and heal himself more with the 1 and the Lotus. But because he doesn't have it, it's much easier for them to actually chase him and zone him completely out of the lane. You know, thankfully, he does end up living, but he does have to go back to base. So I just think that a lot of people naturally skill the E when it is actually not the right play in a lot of lanes. All right, from there, he's going to pick up Raindrops and an Urn first, then into the Raindrops, and he's going to continue to lane against the Morphling. At this point, with full resources, it's pretty easy to bully the Morphling. You just want to Q him almost as much as you can, as he looks for one there, gets the 2 range creeps, yes, and as I said, we'll continue to look for any opportunity to just Q this Morphling. With Raindrops, 1, and Urn, you're not really going to run out of mana unless you just miss every single CS. And so, yeah, look at this play, right? Pretty cool how they're diving the tower with the help of the Clockwork, right? As he drops another Q, keeping Monet low. Spearbringer ends up coming back for the creep wave for honestly no reason here, and that's going to allow Boxy to pick up the kill. So they're able to secure the kill on the Spearbreaker here, which is wonderful, right? They eventually get it last second, and that's going to give him 2 Urn charges, complete max resources, as getting hero kills heals you way more than creeps. In fact, the multiplier is 6 times more if you get a hero kill over a creep kill. It's like the same thing as getting 6 last hits. It's pretty nuts. And yeah, they're eventually just able to kind of work down this Morphling. I will say, I think if Necro gets left alone, he's not that good against Morphling. I don't think one-on-one you're really bullying this guy out, and that's why I don't think this matchup is actually that incredible on paper. I do think that this is largely Liquid understanding that Clockwork plus Necro can dive the Morphling. Like, I really think there's a big difference between Clock and Necro alone. And that might seem really like self-explanatory, but I think Clock in particular is just one of the best supports at diving because he can do overwhelming amounts of damage without pulling tower aggro. A lot of supports don't have that luxury, right? They don't do nearly as much as a level 3 or 4 Clock underneath the tower. And so it's kind of this cool synergy or this cool idea where your timing is like later on diving the tower. I really believe that's somewhat thought out and quite fascinating from Liquid. From there, Zai, with his level 6 spike, is definitely going to be looking for kills on Morphling. This is part of the reason the matchup's good. Morphling often sits with a very odd HP pool, right? The guy kind of sits at 3/4 to a half of his health, and that's when Necro thrives. That's when he often kills heroes. So unfortunately, the Morphling isn't low right now, but in a lot of games, if there's a hard stun, Morphling has to be extremely careful. Also, because of his great start, he actually rushes Boots of Travel. This is not something I recommend you do in most of your games, but if you're stomping, for instance, you know, this game, he's top net worth, it is a good option. And the reason why is it allows you to connect to your team and play an open map style as Necro. From there, Zai's going to bully the mid lane a little bit, gets a D-ward, and then typically what you do with Boots of Travel is work your way back towards the side lane. And the reason why is you can connect to any fight around the map with these Boots of Travel. Yes, you can do the same thing if you're mid, and I don't think it's like terrible to stay mid by any means. It's actually definitely an option. But look at this fight here. This is why you have to take a point in your W. Like the fact that people will go like 404 on this hero makes me vomit in my mouth. I'm not kidding. I don't understand why you would not take a value point at least now. I get it at level 4, okay? I understand. I even get it at level 5. I do not get it at level 8. Yes, it's an extra 0.6%, and you can look at it in different ways, but it is not worth it. He is absolutely going to die here if he could not heal enough. But with the W and then the wand, it heals him so much more than he originally would. Also, if he clicked his Q here, which, okay, he doesn't. He decided to hold it to actually do damage to the Morphling, who was affected by Tornado. But if he did click his Q there, he would be full health. There is a 45% amplification, a crazy high number. So I just think that a lot of players don't fully abuse this and truly understand it, but they're able to turn it around. He's able to live, partially due to the help of the pig pole and due to the movement speed of the boots of travel. I will say one of the downsides of going boots of travel is in this clip here, he gets dove by the spear breaker and the Darkseer. And yeah, I mean, obviously Darkseer against Necro is not the greatest Necro matchup, especially if you don't pick up something like a cloak. So it does end up getting run down. That is certainly the downside of the build, so you gotta be a little bit careful. The next thing I like from Zai is his willingness to farm and his willingness to buy BKB. I think almost no Necro players buy BKB, and for good reason. It completely nullifies the effects of Ghost Shroud when you click it. Like literally, it makes you not ethereal anymore. However, the problem is this game, there's so much magic damage as we talked about at the beginning of the video that no BKB is a death sentence. There is a solution in going pipe, right? And that is reasonable. I can totally see a pipe being a decent choice here. And frankly, I'm a little surprised he didn't buy pipe. But against Skywrath Silence and Puck Silence, being able to pop BKB and get off your W is going to keep you alive, right? Even though it does completely nullify the effect, it's going to allow you to heal yourself more, get off your Q, and get off your Scythe, and at the end of the day, that might be good enough. So he's going to keep the map open here. I do like a lot of players when they buy Shard at this point, because it allows you to one-shot creep wave, so that would be my only potential critique. Obviously, I get why he's buying BKB ASAP, but I think the Shard early is incredible. The mobility, because it lets you actually go to allies and to creeps. Like, if you don't know what it does, you get shot in your Q, and you just end up wherever you click it, and it does a Heartstopper around you, and transports you to that location. So it's a really great mobility tool on a very immobile hero, so I'm a huge fan of it personally. It's quite great. Next, let's look at the execution of Zai in this upcoming teamfight here. So honestly, the execution of NECROPHOS tends to be pretty simple. You're just going to run in to cast your spells. However, I like that he has a lot of trust in his teammates here. He doesn't click Reaper Scythe when Darkseer falls below half health. He clicks it when Darkseer is actually only missing a fourth of his health and trusts that his teammates are going to go for the burst. He does end up getting a really good force staff on the Darkseer. So the Skywrath nearly saved Darkseer, but at the end of the day, they pick up the kill and they finish him off. From there, I have no idea what Spearbreaker's doing. But he dies, and he's going to click his W offensively. This is something I don't recommend doing most of the time, because typically you want to use this to heal your Q and your wand, but I get it. You know, they're in a state of pretty severe advantage. They got 2 major kills, and they feel like they can chase them down. So if that is the case where you're in pretty severe advantage, right, you feel like the enemy has almost no way of fighting back, it's certainly a great idea to actually click your ult in that case. Now in this clip here, once again, what is Aster doing? Why did Monet go in there? Why did he go in and then instantly click Manta? I have no idea. I don't know. But whatever, they kill him. From there, Zai's going to back off and play the deep jungle, once again showing off the power of the Boots of Travel. It just allows you to take this farm that otherwise would make anyone feel very uncomfortable. It's like, I'm across the map from my entire team. Am I going to be able to show up to the fight? Right? For instance, here, he sees a Spearbreaker kill. He doesn't need to show up to this one and has the discipline not to TP, but he had the option if necessary. On top of that, I love this neutral item choice on an intelligence hero. It gives you attack speed to kill neutral camps faster, 2 armor, which is honestly not bad from the agility, and then 300 health. Well, more now, because strength gives 22 HP per strength, which is kind of weird. From there, I'm really surprised he didn't buy his Shard. Like, I really think the Shard is great. I'm surprised he goes Blink. I mean, the Blink is definitely nice because it lets you catch heroes like Puck and Morphling off guard, and that is wonderful. So I can see it, especially in a game like this where he can synergize it with like a hook shot or like Invoker nukes. You can catch Puck off guard and you can catch Morphling off guard. One thing that I find that's different about Zai's gameplay from some other NECROPHOS players is his willingness to drop Scythe early. I think some players have the mindset that on NECROPHOS you need to hold your ulti for key kills like Morphling, Darkseer, or Puck, one of the cores. However, in this clip here, you'll see he walks up to the Spearbreaker, and before the guy gets his invis off, he was like very close to dropping an early Scythe. In fact, he was going to drop it again here if he was given the opportunity. And after the BKB is used, he actually is given the opportunity and takes the opportunity to kill off the Spearbreaker. And so basically the learning lesson there is just be willing to take the support kills. I think getting your team off to the right start in teamfights often is a good idea. However, if the enemy team has some sort of 1v9 core and they don't have Lincolns, maybe it is a good idea to actually save it for them. There's of course always exceptions in Dota. So if the enemy team literally does have some Alchemist with 1 billion net worth, maybe you consider holding it instead of killing some low net worth support. But if the game is even or your team is winning, honestly getting that first kill is going to make their entire team fight pull apart. And finally, the anti-heal NECROPHOS is going to put in some work. Now, the Heartstopper regen reduction, as far as I'm concerned, does not reduce Morphling shift, but don't quote me on that. However, one thing I can tell you for a fact is that Shiva's does reduce his healing, and so does Spirit Vessel. So early onto this fight, he drops the Shiva's aura onto the Morphling, right? His presence is simply reducing the Morphling regen. If you didn't know that, just the passive, not the active. The passive of Shiva's Guard reduces regeneration by 25%, including heals. And Morphling's Shift is considered a heal, not regeneration. And that is why I believe that the 20 talent does not reduce regen, which is kind of odd, but it doesn't. And so yeah, with one blink in with the Shivas, they take out the Morphling, even with no Scythe, and this game pretty quickly comes to an end. I really like this draft from Liquid. It's pretty cool that they had like so many answers to the Morphling. They had a laning answer early on with the NECROPHOS and the Clockwork, and then afterwards they have a Drow Ranger and an Invoker, two heroes that Morphling can't really shift into. He has to go for some sort of Scotty build. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace! And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!